Tem Funk to lead us in a pledge to the flag.
Please rise and join me as you are able.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Here.
Councilmember Daris,
Here.
Councilmember Newsom, here, Mayor Pro Tem Funk,
Here.
Mayor Moreno,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. For those of you attending in person, or if you're listening virtually in one of the many ways that we have available to you, we welcome you this evening. If you are listening on the radio or you're watching on TV and you would like to call in during public comment, I'm going to give you that phone number. You can call in for public comment on any item on the agenda or during community forum. That phone number is 669-900-6833. Once again, that is 669-900-6833. And when you call in, you'll be asked for a meeting ID. That meeting ID is 889-2347-9018. Once again, meeting ID 889-2347-9018. Let's see, I will ask if we have a motion to approve the agenda.
Also move.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bobo, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Funk, and we will waive the reading in full of all ordinances appearing on this agenda. Titles of the ordinances will be read aloud by the city clerk at the first reading, after the motion, and before the city council votes. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Yes.
Councilmember Daris,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Funk,
Yes.
Mayor Moreno,
Yes, ma'am.
motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to our consent calendar, the consent calendar contains items that are considered to be routine and non-controversial and can be approved in one motion unless there's a member of the public or a member of the council wishing to pull an item. And before I do ask any council members if they'd like to pull an item, I believe our city manager, Mr. Lewis, has a clarifying point about the fiscal impact on item A2 of the consent calendar.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Item A2 on the consent calendar entitled Lift Station Number 13 and Force Main Replacement Project Construction Award. If you reviewed the agenda, you will have noticed fiscal impact for this item is listed as TBD. Now, I was going to make a joke about inflation being so bad that I couldn't tell you till the meeting how much it actually cost, but unfortunately that's not true. It was a clerical error, so I apologize for that. But the staff report does correctly break down the expenses and funding for the item. After further review, we did determine the overall fiscal impact for the project will be a little bit lower than actually is what is reflected in the staff report for this item as well. So to be clear, the fiscal impact of the item is as follows. I wanted to share it with you before you vote. Approving staff recommendations will result in estimated expenditures of $6,620,008 in wastewater funds and $1.3 million in road repair and accountability act funds, which are SB 1 monies. And so this cost is slightly lower than expected. Thank you.
And while we're on that, just to note that is in our budget. We've been planning on this. Yes, thank you. All right. So any member of the council or the public wishing to pull an item on consent?
One brief question.
It's a brief question.
For the city manager, on the lift station number 2, item 2 on the consent, can you confirm that the road paving to be done will include both sides of the street?
Yes, it is a full pave of the street. Thank you.
Any member of the public wishing to pull an item or comment on an item? I'm not seeing anybody in Zoom or in person, so we'll go ahead and come back and ask council for a motion.
Move approval of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Borbo, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Funk. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Yes.
Councilmember Daris,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Funk,
Yes.
Mayor Moreno,
Yes, ma'am.
motion passes.
Thank you. We're moving on to the updates from our city manager. I'll hand this over to Mr. Lewis.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of council. We had a very exciting week last week as we kicked off your new mission statement with the staff team and our website and a brand refresh. And so you'll see some pictures up there of All for Atascadero, All In. We had a day where we met together to talk about your mission statement: serve, build community, enhance quality of life. How do we demonstrate that in our daily work as employees, as we serve the community and deliver excellent service to our community? And so for a couple hours, we engaged on that, talked about our role as public servants and how important that is, how important trust and integrity are. We talked about the values of our workplace culture, retention, how we recognize and develop our employees. Very interactive day of learning and sharing. I appreciate many of you were there, and that was really great for you. We talked about essentialism. I know it's important to the council and looking at the work we do here to make sure we're doing what we need to be doing and not doing things we shouldn't be doing, and really making sure that what we do is tied to your mission statement, your focus, and your action plan. And where we find ways to tighten processes and make them more efficient, more essential, what then do we do with the time and resources we freed up? And so really some good discussions you can see by table. Very motivating day, huge buzz in the building since, and I think that's been encouraging. Rachel Hunter of our office and Jessica Kraus did a great job preparing for the day, the food, the tables, the city swag, just terrific. So I thank her and Jessica for the work they did. Our new website is out at atascadero.org. We have a new look. We're many years younger on the web, it looks like here, fresh new look. More so though, the website really needs to be intuitive and interactive for people to find information. And I'm really proud of the work that Amanda and the IT team and many of our employees did to put this together. It's a very fresh, modern website. It's much easier to find things. We'll continue to work on little bugs here or there or links, and we wanted to get it out and get people working on it. And so just a really, really impressive website. And I hope our public enjoy it and can get more important information better and easier. From the new mission statement and website, we also have new brand guidelines. So you'll notice we'll be releasing over the next few weeks, refreshed. This kind of ties into our colors of the City Hall brick and kind of the teal of Oaks at sunset. And you can see our refreshed letterhead and business cards will be rolling out over time as we need. Really just showing, kind of tying into the mission statement at the bottom, this kind of fresh start the council's asked for, and really modernizing our appearance in the community. And so we have a new color palette, color usage, all kinds of fonts, logo usage, et cetera, rolling out over a few weeks. But you can kind of see what that looks like. So we're really excited about that. Road work continues, so we'll have some rain. So obviously in the rain, we will have a little bit of a break. But if it wasn't going to rain for this week, the downtown pavement project would continue with paving plan for Lewis Avenue, East Mall, and West Mall between Lewis and Capistrano, demolition and then construction of curb ramps at West Mall and Lewis, and West Mall and Palma, and demolition of the curb ramp at West Mall and Lewis beginning Thursday. Our goal was to try and take advantage of the week that students are out to get paving done around the junior high school. And so or middle school. We'll see if we can get that done, but rain will impact that. The broadband utility work continues on Palma Avenue, south side of the road, Traffic Way, Lewis Avenue, and East Mall. So that's the trucks and the cones that people see out now with the signs. And so that's just really neat to see that actually going in. Sidewalk and road access will be maintained, though there will be some traffic cones and safety. Next week, work will continue on Palma Avenue and Traffic Way downtown. And then November 20th, work will begin on the portion of Traffic Way between Lewis Avenue and Tunitas Avenue. Sidewalk and road access will be maintained. There may be some temporary parking impacts. And so broadband construction will not occur over the Thanksgiving holiday. And I thank everybody for cooperation during this construction period. We're trying to, this is the price of progress, right? We're paving our street, picking up a few more spaces on Entrada by the way we're striping, installing this broadband for our future. And so it's exciting. We continue to work on the construction schedule and communicate that as well as we can. And we'll keep posting on the billboards downtown, on our website, atascadero.org/downtown paving. And that's how you can get to see what's going on. With the rainy season, things may change. So we'll really try and get the schedule out as often as we can. Switching gears to more fun, the third annual Fall Festival opens Friday at 4. We're going to try and blow the rain through here real quick, hopefully. And then that will be a fun day on Saturday and Sunday from noon to 10. As Carnival ride setup begins, we'll have some road closures as well. Primarily Palma Avenue will close starting tomorrow after the morning school schedule gets underway. Palma will be closed between East Mall and West Mall, and between West Mall and Entrada. The intersection of Palma Avenue and West Mall will remain open until Friday at noon. And the city parking lot will also close on Wednesday. So event organizers are working with nearby businesses on event setup and communicating to carnival goers the best places to park and how to get around. We're expecting 18,000 guests over the 3 days. So this is quite a festival, and admission is free. There's carnival rides, games, over 40 bands on 2 stages, and 60 merchant and food vendors. It is on, rain or shine. So Fall Festival is here. For more information, you can always go to atascadero.org. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. A lot of good things going on. I do want to express many thanks to Amanda and the IT team, as you said, Jim. Excellent job on the website. The old one, I know we had kind of strung it along for as long as we could and eking everything we could out of it, but it was clunky and not very easy to navigate. And this is perfect. So thank you. And thank you to Amanda. If you're out, I know you're out there, done a great job. And the rebrand looks fantastic. So thumbs up all around. Okay, let's move on to community forum. This is the portion of the meeting reserved for persons who are wanting to address the council on an item that is on our agenda this evening, or that is not on our agenda this evening, but over which we have jurisdiction. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, and we allow a total of 30 minutes for community forum. If you would like to come forward, you can state your name at the podium there for the record. And any subjects brought up tonight do not become a topic of conversation, but if necessary, we do triage things. So welcome to our first speaker.
My name is Dawn Belanger. I'm the director of the Workforce Development Board of San Luis Obispo County. We're here along with our partners in the construction trades and Mark Simonin of the IBEW to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week, which happens this week, the week of November 13th. Throughout the country, folks are recognizing the value as apprenticeship as an earn and learn opportunity. The Workforce Development Board in San Luis Obispo County is a huge advocate of apprenticeship programs because we know these are opportunities for folks in our community to get trained and truly earn while they learn. So the registered apprenticeship programs at the state building trades provide folks an opportunity to earn a viable wage, get the training that they need to get on a career pathway and earn a sustainable wage here in San Luis Obispo County. We know it's a really expensive place to live. Folks often can't quit their jobs and go back to school or get training. Apprenticeship really is one of the most viable opportunities that we have to get folks into training, into viable careers, and not have a ton of debt as they enter their career. I want to make mention, we have a National Apprenticeship Week event that will be held on December 6th. We did have to postpone that because we had some anticipated rain for this Friday. So it'll be on Wednesday, December 6th from 12 to 3 at the Plumbers and Steamfitters Hall, which is at 3710 Broad Street in San Luis Obispo. And thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? I don't have anybody on Zoom that wants to speak. Anyone else coming forward?
Good evening, Council. Jeff Oslin, business owner and resident of this great city. I think what our city manager did with the staff on Tuesday is fantastic. The website I have been on. I have a couple suggestions that we can add for improvement going forward. It would be nice if we can look on the website and know when our city offices are open and closed. We did have 2 closures this week. So just to make it easier and communicate with our community would be fantastic in that regard. Fall Fest, being our city manager is a little new at this. Hopefully going forward on events downtown, especially, we can start working on quiet room generators. So if you're eating in a patio at one of the local restaurants, you're not hearing a loud generator. Hearing the carnival rides or the music is way more pleasing to the ear than a very loud generator. And the next one is, are we still on schedule for pavement of the Davis Road before Thanksgiving? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Council. Wendy Lewis with El Camino Homeless Organization, or ECHO. I am here to update the council and the community on several exciting updates. My first is to thank the city and the city manager for writing a letter of support for a funding opportunity for ECHO to expand in North County. We were successful and awarded a grant from the county to expand in Paso Robles and add 20 additional beds, not just the beds, but all the comprehensive services that get people back into housing. That was just, I think, short 2 weeks ago, and I'm excited to announce we'll be able to start opening those beds the week after Thanksgiving. So we are bringing people in before the winter and the cold and adding them slowly, but should be probably by Christmas up to what will be 130 beds within our community. So that's an exciting one. So I want to just thank you for all of your support. Another big exciting thing that's happening is Turkey Trot. So I'm here to talk turkey, and Turkey Trot is our 5th annual, happening at the beautiful Atascadero Lake. Thanksgiving morning, many of you have come out and celebrated with us. Such a fun event. Check-ins at 8:30, registration or check-ins at 8:30. The trot walk, however you want to do it, starts at 9, and we have awards. People will dress up. They'll dress up their pets. We're expecting about 600 people. And the best part is the Beloved Foundation is matching any monetary donations that the community donates. So if someone suggests a donation of $20 becomes 40, and if you can give more, that becomes double as well. So join us on Thanksgiving morning. All the information's on our website, echoshelter.org. And the last thing I'm here to update, and I had to put Councilwoman Funk in suspense because she asked me in the elevator. We've been tracking, as we do each year, how many people are getting back into permanent housing. That's our goal. Our goal is to serve people and help them be successful. Our history, our top year was 114, which was pretty phenomenal. Keep in mind, 50% of the people coming into our programs get back into housing. I'm so proud of our team, the volunteers, our board, the community, to announce just a few minutes ago, I was updated, and so far this year, 167 individuals and children are back into permanent housing because of the resources and this incredible community. So please join us on Turkey Trot Thanksgiving morning so we can do more of that and get people back into a stable, safe place that everybody's deserving of. So thank you for the time this evening.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? I'm not seeing anyone. I'll go ahead and close community forum and bring it back. I will say that number changes so quickly, we really can't write it down because it's the minute I write it down, it's no good. So perhaps like Mr. Oslin was saying on our website, we could have a reopen or closed. You could just have this running like number on your website that kind of keeps ticking by of how many people have been housed, and we would all know. But congratulations on the work you do. And I know many of us will see you out there on Thanksgiving. Okay. Moving on to our public hearing this evening, we have an ordinance amending the definitions of hotels and motels in Title IX of the Atascadero Municipal Code. I will ask first if we have any ex parte, starting on my right. Any ex parte? No ex parte for any of us on this item. I will turn this over to our Community Development Director, Mr. Dunsmore.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'm going to have our planning manager, Kelly Gleason, provide this report to you. Really excited to bring this to you. It actually provides an opportunity for another new big hotel to come into the city of Atascadero. And now these hotels are competing with the Airbnb brands, so they want more kitchens. So we're introducing this code amendment to do that. And at the same time, we get to share a little bit of our new branding with you with our new PowerPoint presentation style. So Luke, if you could bring that up for us. He's working on that. And we'll show you this little amendment, which just simply allows hotels to have more flexibility by being able to add more cooking facilities in certain scenarios.
You're holding us in suspense.
You know, the suspense really actually builds it up to, yeah, here we go. We're there. The new style takes longer to load.
It does, but it features our beautiful building, so we can't say no to that. So as Phil mentioned, this is an update to Title IX of our zoning ordinance for hotels and motels. So a little bit of background, our current code does limit full-size kitchens. So we still allow wet bars, but full-size kitchens in hotel rooms to 25% of the total number of rooms. And it does that through the definition of hotel and motel. So it no longer is a hotel or a motel if more than 25% of the rooms have kitchens in them. And so this definition becomes a little bit problematic when we look at hotels that are trying to be a more extended stay hotel, which still means less than 30 days. but might be a little bit longer and they might have some different needs. So we actually have a couple hotels in for application that would like to take advantage of a zone text change of this magnitude. We currently have the extended stay Residence Inn that is proposed to go behind the old Colony Inn Hotel on El Camino Real at 3600. That would take over some of that space. They've already done a remodel to that front hotel building, and then they would like to build a more extended stay model at the rear of the site. We also have a cottage style hotel that was approved on Del Rio that is also looking to expand their kitchen offerings to compete with some of the other models of stays around. And we have a potential hotel, boutique hotel at the Dove Creek site that is looking to also do a more extended stay model. So as I mentioned, extended stays would still be less than 30 days. So they're still subject to transit occupancy tax. Sometimes they're a little bit longer than a weekend, though. We have a lot of visitors that stay 1 to 2 weeks, either for work or for pleasure in this area. And so they tend to need a little bit more in terms of facilities from a hotel room. This provides an alternative to Airbnbs and VRBOs and that type of model. A lot of people are looking for more of the brand name when they come stay at a hotel. They want that certainty of a brand name. And so they actually are shifting a little bit away from Airbnbs, but are looking for a brand name to have those site amenities that they expect from an Airbnb model. As always, there are some concerns, especially in the past, about conversion of hotels and motels easily to residential units that are long-term stay. In that scenario, the city does not receive transit occupancy tax and the nature of the use changes. And these are uses that are generally located in commercial areas where we want that heavy tourist activity to occur. And so to deal with that, we've done a couple of code text amendments that we've proposed this evening. The first one is just changing the definition of hotel and motel to be silent on the number of kitchens that can be accommodated in individual hotel rooms, and remove that section from the definition. The second portion of the code update would be to address any concerns with potential conversion to long-term residential units. And so there's a new section proposed to our Title IX that would regulate what hotels and motels that provide kitchens kind of get to do, and a couple standards for what they need to implement to ensure that some of our concerns are taken care of. So the first one would just be to clarify that hotels and motels without kitchen facilities can exist without any sort of approval process above and beyond what our code would regulate in our use table. And it clarifies that wet bars are not considered a full kitchen and are allowed in those rooms. So the traditional little coffee maker, little mini fridge, microwave kind of thing, that would be permitted without any sort of approval level. And then we have allowances for hotels and motels to have kitchens in individual rooms up to 50% of the rooms. But in that particular situation, we would want the hotel to have a minimum of 20 rooms to be a sort of a more commercially tourist viable hotel situation. And then we would also want a deed notification to be recorded against the property, just for notification to any future owners that this is in fact a short-term stay hotel and would not be able to be used for long-term residential units. If somebody wanted to go above 50% of their rooms to have full kitchens, that is a possibility as well. It would be reviewed as a conditional use permit, and the Planning Commission would need to make a couple of findings that it's consistent with our municipal code and all other ways, that it provides amenities that are consistent with a tourist serving use, and that the project is located in an area that supports tourist serving activities. So majority of our commercial areas are right off El Camino or Morro Road or areas like that, directly accessible from the freeway. Those are appropriate locations for tourist serving activities. There may be some commercial properties out there that are tucked a little bit away or in the rear of a site or surrounded by residential uses. And we would want the Planning Commission to be cognizant of those kind of areas and really review those areas to make sure that they're consistent with our goals. As always, the council does need to make some findings associated with the zone text amendment, including consistency with the general plan, that we're not creating an unsafe situation, and that it will not create any unavoidable impacts. So the council does have a couple of alternatives. You can make any modifications to the proposed zone text update this evening. You can determine that some more information is needed and return it back to staff, and we will prepare that additional information for you. Or you could deny the proposed amendments and keep the definition for hotels and motels the same that it is today, limiting kitchens and rooms to 25%. So the Planning Commission did review this proposed item and is recommending approval. And that the council introduce and waive first reading of the draft ordinance to allow this zone text amendment and take any additional related actions as may be desired. And that does conclude our presentation. We are available if you have any questions.
Thank you. Kelly, I think you mentioned that other local municipalities didn't have the same restriction that we did. What have you found tends to be, you know,
Yeah, some of our
average?
surrounding communities don't have any restrictions. They allow kitchens and rooms as proposed. I believe it was Morro Bay and a couple other communities that do require the conditional use permit when kitchens are in any rooms. So this proposal kind of rests in the middle a little bit.
Okay, thank you. All right, I will look to council for questions. Would be you, Susan.
Yeah, I noticed that our planning commission made some very thoughtful additions or edits to the proposed things when it came before them. Could you characterize the intent of those?
Sure. It was actually our city attorney that had some changes that then they recommended, and that was in red. Sorry, I didn't point that out earlier in the code text amendment that was in your staff report. And so it was just clarification about kitchens being in individual rooms. So we don't want to limit somebody that has a kitchen as part of a restaurant in their hotel and make them have to go through a process, right? So things we don't think about unless you're city attorneys with those kind of eyes. So they wanted to make sure that it was individual rooms that we were talking about and not the facility at large.
Great. Are there any other concerns about potential unintended consequences of this?
Not at this time. This does seem to be a trend that we're heading towards. We do have a really strong amount of tourism in our area. And I think that the 50% cutoff and doing a conditional use permit will allow us to review some of those ones that are asking for 100% kitchens, just to ensure that that the goals for a tourist related use are maintained.
Sounds great. And I appreciate the work that the planning commission and the city attorney have done and the staff to bring this forward in a constructive way.
Sounds like our city attorney is making the planning commission look good. Did I see you posed for a question? Okay. All right. I think all of our questions have been answered, so I will go ahead and open up public comment, and please come forward. Speakers have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. Jeff Oslin once again. A few questions that come to mind. Extended stay. I think it's great that we're going to allow our hotels to compete with Airbnb, but I'm also concerned for our residents here of Atascadero. What happens if you're displaced from your home in Atascadero, let's say because of fire? You know, we put a big emphasis on know your zone, and we could have displacement based on fire. Wouldn't it make sense to do a few full kitchens so our residents could actually stay here in Atascadero and not have to leave for up to a year if they're having to rebuild their home? Just a question that comes to mind. So that's one of the things that I would be concerned about. That all I hear is tourism. I'd also like to consider things for our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing any other members of the public, nobody online. Luke, is there anybody that I don't see? All right. Sometimes people can hide in technology and I don't see them. All right. Want to make sure we get everybody. Thank you. Closing public comment on this item. And, you know, my only response to that in terms of hotels is hotels with a 30-day stay are specifically for tourism serving purposes. And so we wouldn't want to dictate to a hotel like you must do a full service kitchen in case our residents happen to need it. But your question is well taken. Like I am just from a curiosity standpoint, and I'm not sure who with staff, if maybe our city manager would address this, but even thinking from a longer term, if someone is displaced and they needed a hotel, you'd be even talking beyond the 30-day stay, which we did here at council a month or so ago. Is that something where we typically, hey, we understand that happens and we really don't, we don't press on that. But what do folks tend to have available to them?
The question being, what do people do if they need to stay longer than 30 days? Usually the hotel checks you out and then checks you back in.
Okay.
There are reasons for that, but that's usually the hotel's operating policy. They check you out and yourself check back in. So that's the practice of what hotels would do
Okay.
as an operating hotel. And I do believe that the residence end product we're talking about has fridge, garbage disposal, cooking ability, because it's meant for people. There's grills, to cook. So I think if someone were trying to live there in light of a major rehabilitation to their house, the expense to hotel would be viable for that.
There would be something available. All right. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, if I
Yes.
could just tag team on that. The reason for checking in and out is because we cannot collect TOTs past 30 days.
Oh, we know that.
Okay,
The five of us are extremely aware.
just making sure.
Thank you. Councilmember Borbo.
Yes, I'll be happy to make a motion to approve staff's recommendation. I did want to comment, though, that this, as noted by staff, this is somewhat being market driven in competition with Airbnbs that, that the hoteliers want to have full kitchens. And it just reminds me that, I had asked, and I think we did put it in the work program, that we would address our rules around Airbnb at some point in time in the future. And so this, I think, is just another reminder that changing market conditions drive some of this. We need to address at some point in time the presence and how we want to approach Airbnbs at some point. So, but with that, I'd be happy to make a motion to approve staff recommendation in this item.
I will second and also concur in Councilmember Bourbeau's comments that we need to be looking at the impact of Airbnbs.
All right. We have a motion by Councilmember Borbo, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Funk. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Yes.
Councilmember Daris,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom. Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Funk,
Yes.
Mayor Moreno.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We'll now move on to council announcements and committee reports. This is where on our own initiative, council members may let you know of something we've been involved in briefly in the community, or also letting you know the status of any standing committees, things that boards that we serve on, and what's been going on there. So I will start from my right to my left with Councilmember Newsom.
Thank you. City Schools Committee met on November 1st. Always a good conversation and a collaboration of resources. City Manager sat in on that. We miss Charles Barbeau. But again, a great conversation.
Mayor Pro Tem Funk.
The Homeless Services Oversight Council will be meeting this Wednesday from 1 to 3 in San Luis Obispo. I had the privilege last week of attending on behalf of Councilmember Bourbeau as his alternate, the IWMA. And at that, it was noted that the county has voted to rejoin IWMA, and the paperwork is out to the various city councils and other bodies to make those approvals. And also that the executive director's compensation was normalized following a pay study. Additionally, I would like to report to council that on Veterans Day, I had the privilege of being the only council member present for the recognition at the Elks Lodge for the day that our Atascadero Elks do for veterans each year. And so I took the opportunity to make remarks on behalf of the whole council, appreciating veterans for their service and also appreciating the Elks for honoring veterans in this way. The work that our not-for-profits do to support members of the community is what binds us together. It's the beating heart of Atascadero. And I hope that I did not step out of line to speak on behalf of all of us in that work.
Councilmember Borbo.
Well, thank you. I was out of the country for 2 weeks, so I want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Funk for attending IWMA and Councilmember Newsom for doing the City Schools Committee. I would add to what Mayor Pro Tem Funk mentioned that I discussed with Mr. Lewis this morning, and the county, the change to the joint powers agreement regarding the IWMA will come to our council at our next meeting for us to approve, as all of the 7 cities have to approve that. So, but thank you again for attending those, and I have something under individual determination today.
Councilmember Daris.
Thank you. This Thursday, Capslow meets from spring, 5 o'clock usually to about 7:30, 6:30. It depends what's on the agenda. And the design review committee meeting has been canceled. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I had a regional transit meeting a couple of weeks ago. And battery electric buses are up 30% in price since May of 2022. So we're looking at a significant shortfall, a little over $2 million, looking for the various pots of money that could fill in, and we're confident that we'll find that. But those prices, along with many other prices, continue to rise. It was brought up that some of the challenges that we will have with the battery electric bus, we still don't have the ability really to get over the grade as it stands right now and into service, North County from South County. So that's, something that we still look forward to being able to achieve. The other is just the electric buses are a lot heavier. They require wider tires. So the wear and tear on the roads is greater. And so, they're constantly trying to look at ways to reduce items from the buses to make them lighter because you've got the heavy batteries on them. So it's a challenge. And one of the things I know that RTA is looking at is, at some point down the line, needing to look at hydrogen. Right now, that's not feasible, but it is lighter, quicker refueling, and just a lot of interesting things going on as we try to meet the state standards. Went to the REACH roundtable down at Santa Maria last week with Lorelei. So we had a good time down there. Not surprising, a lot of conversation about housing and the intense need for housing. One of the questions, and actually Lorelei brought up this question of the industry panel about office space. And, if you have vacant office space, do we have just where people are working at home now and they're not going to be coming back into the office? And what he said is really he sees at some point there will be a reset. Right now you have what you might call an employee market versus an employer market. But when you do have an employer market, you'll probably start to see where there will be more necessitating of being back into the office. And there are a lot of benefits to that. Right now, we're not seeing that, but he sees that, it will come back around. So that was an interesting viewpoint. And we have look forward to seeing how that impacts us here in Atascadero in our office space. And then I've got a mayor's meeting this Friday. So we'll be looking forward to that. All right, I understand Councilmember Borbo has an individual determination.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to pass on, in this particular, as we approach the holiday season, Coats for Kids, which has been a, annual thing here for many years, is looking for volunteers. Coats for Kids will be doing setup at the fairgrounds December 6th through 8th, and doing distribution to families in the North County on December 9th. And so they are looking for volunteers and asked me to mention that. And Brenda May is helping coordinate that. But rather than read out her email, my email is readily available on the website. If somebody wants to know, they can email me and I can get them in touch with Brenda May.
Okay. And just for future clarification, that can actually go under council announcements, not individual determination, but just to bring that up. All right. Yes. Council, Mayor Pro Tem Funk.
Yes, I have an individual determination item. Back when we dissolved the Parks and Recreation Commission, we had discussed having some kind of reporting come to this council on an annual basis, so that we can track the development of parks and recreation and be able to engage in the public conversation about those that can't happen since we don't have a Parks and Rec Commission anymore. And that kind of got washed away with the pandemic and the necessity of everyone focusing on that work. I'd like to circle back for it and see if we can't find a way with instruction to staff that this is not intended to be onerous or grilling. It's intended to be an opportunity to celebrate the achievements recently and help the public become aware of them, and also to look at what's next on the agenda so people are aware of what's coming, and what the priorities are as we develop our parks in the sort of nearer term focus than a 20-year general plan. And if staff can accomplish that without it becoming onerous, I would ask council members if that could be supported to sometime in the next few months.
Is it something that we could do as a report out without a staff report? Like,
Yeah,
I'm wondering
like,
what
like
your,
a PowerPoint without a staff report. Yeah, that, and I would,
I
would
don't think
expect
we have
something-
issue with that. I think Terry could put together something. Frankly, I think the staff is pretty excited about some of the new things they're doing. I think sharing those with you in the community would be a neat show and tell. I think some of the improvements the council's done at Lake Park and other places, the impact of pickleball, there's a lot of things that have been really good. So I think for us to share those with you in the community would be a good opportunity for January, February, if the council would be interested.
that sounds lovely. All right. Any others? I am not seeing any. So we will let me get to the end here. We are going to recess to our closed session following the conclusion of our city council meeting here. To discuss an item that is on the closed session portion of the agenda. And I'm going to ask the city attorney to announce what that item is.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This is a matter for existing litigation to consult with the city attorney pursuant to Government Code Section 54.956.9. This is existing litigation involving the estate of Douglas A. Breeze versus the Board Administration of the California Public Employees Retirement System. And the case number is on the agenda. Happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we will now recess to closed session and an announcement of any reportable action taken in closed session that occurs after the recess of the regular session here will be made at the beginning of the next regular city council meeting, as closed session is not recorded or videotaped. So we'll see you all next time. In the meantime, have a very happy Thanksgiving.